If you're not involved in the adoption world, if you're not an adoptee or an adoptive mother, keep quiet. Please keep quiet, because really you speak nonsense. You honestly speak nonsense. This is referring to something like I actually don't remember anything that Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt has been in. I haven't watched movies in decades, so I can't really tell you what they've done recently, but I know, we all know, they are celebrities, right? Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, adopted children, okay? And there are some biological children as well in the mix. Now, apparently, there was a big fight in 2016, abuse was alleged, and when the children wanted to testify, and their mother wanted to testify about their father's abuse, the judge said no. And the judge didn't allow them to say whether they want, which parent they want to live with, or if they want to live with both of them 50-50. That's what I've read in the news. Right. Now, that's all well and good, and that's not the problem. The problem is, one, the children, the older ones, have taken away their father's surname, so they're not whoever Pitt anymore. They've kept their mother's surname. Secondly, apparently there was a screenshot of the son's Instagram post that he had done about how him and the children tremble in fear over when they're in their father's presence. Now, thirdly, I have never lived with either Brad nor Angelina nor their children. I have no clue what it's like to be their child. Do you? Have you lived with those people? Have they parented you for many years? So how can you speak on something we haven't lived? I also cannot speak on it. All I will say is this. Everybody is blaming Angelina and saying she is doing parental alienation. She's making sure the children hate him. She's brainwashed them into hating him. These were not infants at the time when the divorce happened. They were not infants on that aeroplane when their father, who is an admitted alcoholic abuser, did whatever he did. They were there. They were sentient children. They were sentient beings, and they could form their own conclusions on the behavior they saw and any other behavior they might have witnessed. Thirdly, yes, I have heard or read that Angelina was a very permissive parent. And unfortunately, I have seen how that backfires, or not backfires, but I've seen how permissive parents can get the children onto their side. Because there are children who don't want rules, who don't want order. They want to be allowed to go in and out of the house, doing whatever they want to do, bring in any kind of alcohol or drink in their allegedly Christian. I'm talking about Christian families where alcohol is not part of the church, where the church does not do alcohol. So I know, I've seen it. I've seen permissive parents who are liars and whose children are so devoted to them because they can abuse their parents. I've seen it. I have seen with my own eyes. Adult, not even teenagers like these kids, adult children who take advantage of their super permissive parents and hate anyone who speaks truth and order and is in favor of justice and honesty and integrity. So I am not saying Angelina is perfect. She could be like that she could be in that situation where she's a permissive, horrible, lying parent, and she has her servants or slaves, and they're all the children prefer the permissive, lying parent as opposed to the alcohol abusing parent who might have had this proper rules that everyone needs so that they can live safely, etc. I don't know, and that's my point. I don't know. I've seen it go both ways though. That's the thing. I will never join the people who say it's Angelina's fault that the children are getting rid of their father's surname. One, because they were aware of what was going on in the family. They were there on that airplane when things went wrong. So these are not like little babies. I will never therefore say she's doing anything because they were not little babies. They're little babies. They were aware. So, yeah. And secondly, people can be so artificial. I've seen this also, where a woman, especially women, will scream out or cry out to the church. Okay, this is a church setting, not celebrities, and saying, my husband is abusive. They will have screenshots of abusive, gaslighting, psychologically abusive messages, and everyone just brushes it off. Oh, but the person is a good preacher, a good deacon, very dedicated to the church, so we'll keep using them, which then tells the woman that her very, very serious, not even allegations because it's evidence, her very serious warnings are not heeded. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's a false prophet or he's a wolf in sheep's clothing or that he's a Pharisee. We admire the person anyway. I've even seen cases where someone has lied and cheated on their wife multiple times, and their mutual friend will say, well, I still admire the person, the guilty person. Seriously, people can be extremely blinded by narcissistic, charming men. I'm just saying that maybe those people standing up for Brad are also charmed and fooled by his winning exterior, his apparent good looks, etc. And they have no clue, or even if they have a clue, they don't want to really listen. If someone is abusive to the spouse or the children, they are evil. No two ways about it. They are evil and they should be treated as the evil being they are. Again, I don't know who's wrong. All I know is, what I do know is people. Comments. There was a comment the first time when this made news about how the adopted children are terrible to turn on them, but it's not as bad as their biological children. Of course it's as bad. They're all children. If they are doing bad in the first place by turning away from their dad, then it's bad, whether they're adopted or not. But today's one is the one that made me just speak, because all the comments were saying she's again practicing parental alienation, Angelina, the mother, and she's brainwashed the children. And then people are like, oh well, it won't hurt Brad much. The adopted children who turned their backs on innocent Brad, it's not going to hurt him as much as his biological children turning away from him. Okay. Oh yes, I know the other comment was something along the lines of Angelina is denying the children a grandparent relationship, and those children are missing out on big blessings because of their mother. But they're grandparents, and they meant all the children, adopted and not. And the truth is, not all grandmothers want to be grandmothers, and especially not of adopted children. So maybe Angelina, if she's keeping the children away from their grandparents, maybe she's saving them from knowing that some of them are not loved. Has anyone thought of that? Not in the comments I read. No one has thought of that maybe those children aren't loved by grandparents anyway. So she's not hiding any love from them or holding them back from experiencing love. She's actually keeping them safe from experiencing trauma and hatred. And then today's comment, was Brad is going to be hurt by the fact that his children are turning their backs on him. Poor innocent Brad, but especially being turned away from by his biological children. That will hurt more. I speak as one of the, unfortunately, here's the truth also. Unfortunately, not all adoptive mothers have adopted because of pure love. That is true. Some parents, I don't actually know why they adopted. They are evil and hateful to their adopted children. They go and have biological children afterwards, and you can see the love that is toward their biological child, and the adoptee just gets forsaken and forgotten about or mistreated. There are many adoptees who can tell you how they are mistreated by their adoptive mothers, how they never actually felt love, how they're just a second option because the parent couldn't have a child, wasn't fertile, and they just still didn't measure up. Either their interests are not the same as the adoptive family. Like, let's say all the adopted people are musicians, but let's say this adoptee is into maths, and that's not acceptable. We're a family of musicians. What is it with you and this maths thing? You will have that as well. So yes, not all adoptive parents are like me, but there are many adoptive parents who are like me. I know them. We love all our children. Some, of course, never had biological children, but I know the love they have for their children is life and death love. So if their children and if my adopted children turned their backs on us, of course we will be hurt. They are our children. How they came to be our children doesn't diminish the level of love we have for them and the loyalty we expect from them. If we are kind and innocent, like poor innocent Brad, then of course we will get hurt. We will be sad. We will miss our children, whether they were adopted or not. Also, here's the layer. The other layer is many of us feel a sense of grief for our adopted children. There's a sense of heartache that we have for our adoptees that you will never have for our biological children. Our biological children live with the woman they came from. Our adoptees don't. They don't. The woman whose smell they knew, the woman whose voice they knew, the woman whose heartbeat they lived under is gone. That is a wound. That is a loss. And so if we love our children fully and deeply, we acknowledge that loss and we grieve for them, even before they're really aware and can verbalize that they have a loss. We love our children, all of them. Our adoptees matter to us. They are our children. And so if we were everything right in parenting and they just decided, I don't want to know you, we would hurt. And that's all I wanted to say. Whether Brad is innocent or not, and that Jelena is bad or good, doesn't matter. That point in the comments on this situation is what I'm really responding to. If Brad is really an innocent, loving, good dad, he is hurting over all those children abandoning him.